Hi, everybody, and welcome to Read Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. Check us out at the SpiderManCrawlspace.com. Well, everybody, of course, I'm here to, review Amazing Spider-Man 23, aka 987, Part 2 of Death Spiral, written by Joe Kelly and art by Ed McGuinness. That's right, Ed McGuinness is back to do it. So, how did Part 2 in the Venom Spider-Man Carnage crossover do? Well, let's start off with the pros. So, first of all, I really like that the people are actually talking in this issue. It's actually really enjoyable to actually see, the characters actually interacting, talking, enjoying themselves. I also got up to think I really did also like the artwork as well as the use here with the bad guys. This was a great use of Lady Octopus as well as the Shocker. Joe Kelly really got the voices right, and I really do like the history between both Spider-Man and Venom with the characters and how it worked. And honestly, it works really good as good action scenes. I also like the little pieces here with Eddie Brock and, of course, the Carnage symbiote. We're actually finding out that Eddie is not an idiot, that he has found out that Carnage is somehow involved with whoever Torment is, but also he's been doing the sideways. And I also like the fact we're getting a little bit more that's been popped up in the main Carnage miniseries. I shouldn't say miniseries, but ongoing series about how Carnage has been able to use the little pieces, even though it's not supposed to move unless Eddie does. So I really do like that, and Kelly has done a really nice. Like I said, there's some nice little pieces with the characterization too. And believe it or not, I did like the fact that we actually had Peter and Mary Jane after we had the whole little part where, of course, Peter, explained to Mary Jane about what had happened with him with Ben Riley replacing him, and the two actually sit down and talk. And I actually seen some nice little pieces between Venom Symbiont and Peter, as well as Mary Jane Peter. It really shows just how these two really just work very well with each other. And actually, Joe Kelly didn't go too far with it. He actually made it kind of working and logical. So I kind of enjoyed that part. However, that's where that ends. On this really just throws right here how much Peter's life was, as Ben said it. If you didn't have much of a life, if I screwed it up for you going how pretty much is showing about pretty much how Peter really has this issue. The whole thing with Ricardo, Aunt May, and Peter is honestly could have been good with the early parts here, but we see a lot of course, little gaslighting as well as a little bit of projection from Rick, since he's of course having the issues about saying, well, he was like this, I had family members like this, and then he says, and he forgot your name, didn't know the pieces. Then he goes, she's like, you forgot my name. The problem is here is one more day why it destroyed the Spider-Man marriage. Getting rid of Aunt May about knowing Peter's identity as Spider-Man really ruined this, because we got to the point where Aunt May is really just running around. Like, what do you want to do with her? They talk about the concerns, they talk about this, but it also makes Peter kind of really has no life. They basically want to go the whole Parker luck, the whole issues with it. But really, when you look at it, Peter has no life. He has nothing around with him. He's always causing issues. He has things coming to his life. It just ruined it. It has nothing to do with Spider-Man. It has to do with him and Peter Parker, and that really kind of ruins the character. The mystery Torment is actually very interesting, but when you think about it, he's creepy, kind of cliche. I mean, he's actually what he is doing. And then the fact is, yes, yeah, I'll go into a couple of things too, but really the way he's actually doing one things in, and the fact that he's actually been seeking out specific people to whatever the Carnage symbiote and him been talking about, it's pretty creepy. But at the same time, it's a little cliche, as we kind of have this mystery about who the character is, how he's related to him, and when he goes on attack, and why he's killing people that are either related to the Parker family, to the Brock family, and yes, some people are apparently related to the Watson family. It's very interesting, but at the same time, is where are they going with this? And honestly, it's a mess, because it really is. Peter feels so down on his language when he goes finds out that an aunt on Aunt May's side, O'Reilly, is killing. He's like, well, that's cool. And they're like, cool? I mean, cruel. It's not funny. This is one thing about Joe Kelly's writing. 30 years ago, this was very enjoyable, really hit the press, especially the early 2000s. Now it feels like he's trying to land a joke that does not work. It doesn't have Peter coming off trying to do humor through pieces like this, which we all do at some points. I know I have tried to find humor in dark days or sad times when I've lost family members or people I was acquaintance with, but it doesn't come out. It comes off as really kind of pathetic, and I don't like this part here. Really, why do we have to break them all the time? That's all. Marvel's been stuck in all these issues for so long, and it doesn't make Peter really come off very well. The whole little things between Mary Jane, the symbiote, Aunt May, and Ricardo, yeah, as well as what's been going on in his personal life that Ben Riley really messed up. Worse, not the Shocker. They killed Herman Schultz. He took the blasters. We saw him be a powerhouse. He was being used in other books, and he gets killed off. They cut his arms, Torment cuts his arms off, takes his, vibro blasters, and basically leaves him dead on the floor saying Carnage. It's meant to be shocking, but him being killed off is just not that great. It's no, it's really not good. This really hurts. I'm not happy with this, especially how they did it. The more for a shock factor, and honestly, you kill off a very well, not only Spider-Man villain, but a very well-known character. It's been around for close to 50 years now. Now he's been completely just killed off, unless it's like with the whole Carnage rule. Yeah, I don't have much else to say on that, but otherwise it's a B for me because a lot of it does work for that, but then we get the other half here, like the death of you know the shocker, the fact we had everything, of course, mixed up with Mary Jane, not realizing out of everybody else, the Avengers, Black Cat, Norman Osborn knew that Ben Reilly became Spider-Man. And now the symbiote couldn't figure it out. Mary Jane couldn't figure out. And it's like, oh, sorry about that. And Peter's like, oh, my life is so hard. Rick, oh, your nephew's kind of a draw out. Aunt May, I don't know what to be as a character anymore. The rest of it, honestly, is not bad. So I will give it a B. The artwork is fantastic. I love the fight scenes. The more quieter other character moments worked very well for the characters. And you do really want to know what's going on. I have to say the message reveal that Eddie Brock was to tell Peter that Carnage knew that he was Spider-Man again really threw up some things and actually makes it pretty good if you've been reading the main Carnage series like I have. So I'll give it a B. But wow, Death Spiral has done a lot in the last two issues that make me kind of wonder really what this storyline wants to be. But it's right now not making a lot of people happy by taking off some characters for shock value. And that's all I have, everybody. So I thank you for joining me here in this wonderful review here for part two of Death Spiral. If you'd like to know about the crawl space, please check us on our Discord, our websites, our YouTube, Instagram, other social media platforms, and everything else. Or check out our monthly podcast as well as pieces on the discussions on the main Spider-Man crawl space. And on that note, everybody, I will see everybody for part three of Death Spiral next week on the crawl space.